really matter. And it's interesting that Fantastic Five just rushed that OD pick yet again. I
Yeah.
mean, it did win the first game. It went quite well, but I don't feel like they
10
won
seconds
because of the
remaining.
OD specifically.
Yeah, that wasn't an old
5
dirty
seconds
performance. That
remaining.
was just an OD was in the game and kind of
Dire
had maybe a
team
setup
battle.
here and there and did some right click damage. It was not the OD performance I was looking for, but maybe this time they will prove me wrong, or they trust in it nonetheless. And not only they're gonna have OD, they already have a Bane. I don't know if he's
10 seconds
necessary, but
remaining.
imagine already OD being a significant lane dominator and
5
and also
seconds
having a
remaining.
Bane by his side. That may be necessary, though, as you're going against Invoker. Now, Scan, I know we had
Dire
that
team
micro
pick.
patch since then, or what people are considering, what, 6.8, 6C or something like that, the Invoker nerf patch. Do you think it was a significant set of nerfs that Invoker could, you know, be higher valued than he actually should be, or do you think that he shouldn't be too worried about it and that this kind of puts him back on an even playing field with the other mid laners?
Yeah,
10
I don't think you
seconds
should be that
remaining.
worried. I feel like, I mean, to be honest, I feel like people exaggerated how like supposedly overpowered the hero is, but the nerf that
Navi's
it gets to
turn to
Alacrity is the
pick.
one that it deserves because basically you shouldn't be able to have
Dire team
the
pick.
value Exort point, play Quasvex Invoker, and still have really powerful Alacrity. So what they've really changed is you probably need to be playing Exort to have good value in your Alacrity because it takes a while to actually get to the same strength as it used to be. It actually peaks off higher. So at the very highest levels, it's stronger than it
Yeah.
was, but at the lower levels, it's significantly weaker. And we I don't think we'll ever see another, or in the near future anyway, until they change the hero again. We're not going to see Quasworks
10
Invokers going
seconds
Alacrity.
remaining.
And since then, a Vengeful
5
Spirit
seconds
pickup will
remaining.
only add to that precious alacrity and right click damage that much more. We'll see if this is going to be a
Reserve time.
core Vengeful Spirit or not. I mean, in recent, especially a lot of Europe Dota play, I wouldn't be surprised if this is going to be the core Venge after all. I want to know if that's something. Do you think we should anticipate here from Navi? Is a core Venge, kind of just the optimal play to be going for at this point? I mean, she would have to consider stepping off, not going too heavy into the damage department, and get something like a BKB at some point. I would imagine going against this OD.
It's Yeah, she would, but that's the core Venge build, and core Venge does sync up really nicely with Invoker actually. If you especially if you go for the Forge Spirits build, gives you like pretty crazy pushing power early on in the game. It is also like just a common CIS pick at the moment. FNG really introduced the core Venge to the world, and FNG did used to captain Power Rangers. I think that he played at the same time as Ditchera because they both played for Power Rangers. Like I'm not sure if Ditchera only came in after FNG left because in my head I feel like back then when FNG first started doing the core Venge, it was actually Moon who was playing. Moonlight was still playing carry for them, but basically the chances are that Ditchera can play the Zero in the core role, and it wouldn't surprise me at all. At the
Navi's
same
turn
time,
to
I think
pick.
it's a perfectly acceptable support hero as well. So we don't know, but they do pick up the Chen, and
Dire
that I feel
team
like is an
battle.
argument for the core Venge because it looks pretty clear to me that Navi are trying to do the group up and push you strategy, and this does fit the theory that I've had for the last couple of days that
Navi's
art
turn
styles
to
drafts are
bat.
pretty much all cheese drafts in one respect or another. And this
Mm-hmm.
is kind of like we hit our timing, we all group up, and you can't handle the death ball. That's what they're going for here.
I'm curious what the Fantastic Five response to that's going to be. I mean, we don't typically know, like,
10 seconds
Outworld
remaining.
Devour, for example, to be one to kind of have a lot of outspam and ways to
5
kind of
seconds remaining.
keep the push back. His new Astral Imprisonment does offer now some sort of AoE
Dire
nuking
team
damage that
pick.
could be utilized to kind of farm a bit, but you quickly drop one in a wave to farm, you may not have it in the next go around for the big team fight. Late pickup, though, is going to be
Navi's
Gyro, who
turn to
does
pick.
offer a lot of tremendous outspam. Great high ground defense if the pressure does come. And I'm actually quite surprised to see him the fifth pick here for Fantastic Five. Just kind of something that maybe the team's kind of just blew over a bit, but you can't always sleep on.
Yeah, Jara is actually a pretty perfect pick here for them to deal with what
Yeah.
Navi are trying to do. If he gets into his farm, if he gets to where he wants to be,
10
it's going to be
seconds
very difficult for
remaining.
Navi to just throw themselves at them. Maybe if he gets swapped out or something and picked
5
off.
seconds
I agree with
remaining.
what you said about OD. Like it might be marginally better than the old OD against push strats, but it's still not that
Reserve
it's not,
time.
you're not going to pick it to deal with the push strat.
Yeah.
Absolutely not. And neither would you pick Bane for that. So it was really important they picked the gyrocopter because Lena I think very likely, yeah, Lena's got to be support here, right? Slaughter, sure you can initiate, but you're not like really pushing the waves back. The Gyro has a lot of work to do this game. Needs to have a good start, I would say.
And I think Na'Vi could. I mean, if that's all they got for Fantastic Five and Gyro and that outspam and high ground, I think Na'Vi can even go more hardcore into the push if they really want it at this point. We'll see what they do decide to go for here. It's going to be Jakiro, and it is even more of that push. Now you're talking about adding, precious little liquid fire on top of it. What do you think? Aether Lens? Jakiro? Is that a thing? Does that make his sieging capability even further? You don't need Dragonlance for that, right? It's Aether Lens, I think that would help. I wonder if it's a possible pickup.
I don't actually know. I think the way it works these days, it's not connected to actual attack, so it probably would be the Aether Lens. But it is a bit of a complicated one. I will say that yesterday, Na'Vi beat Vega Squadron 2-1. The game that they lost was the game they drafted this kind of all-in push strategy. That's the only game that they lost. And it was a totally different strategy. They had a Lycan and a Beastmaster, and the plan was to like get 2 Necro 3s and just go push. But it was the all-in group up and push plan, and what happened there is Vega just like dominated them in the early game, and Navis didn't hit their timings. Like by the time they had those Necros, it was too late. So I guess that's what I'm gonna look out for here. If Fantastic Five can do what Vega did yesterday and just like beat Na'Vi in the lane stage, so that Navi's push actually takes too long to get online, then Navi's draft is gonna suddenly become very, very awkward.
So we know what the win condition more so is for Fantastic Five, or at least the example that was set by Vega. Now it's a question of if they have the tools to do so here with their lineup, and I don't know. I would have to say that means it's more pressure for Fantastic Five to definitely have a good laning stage, because you're still talking about a lot of heroes here that need a lot of tools to be a problem in this. Like OD, a blink tool for the Slardar. Now their smoke breaks. It's straight south. They're going to cut straight down for it, and it's Dit Yara here, who is going to be in a bit of trouble. Oh, sleep and LSA timing is going to be off, but it does set up a nice crush, and that means they will still get the first blood. It goes to Sadoy. And this is the second game straight where Fantastic Five smoke up as a group and go for first blood. I think Na'Vi need to start taking note of that for future games.
Yeah, and it's the story of the last game, right? Smokes, pretty much. That's like Fantastic Five used, I think, 4 or 5 smokes in that game, and they all succeeded in what they were trying to do. And Na'Vi just not succeeding that much with their smokes, so I think you're exactly right that Na'Vi needs to be doing better to plan around the enemy smokes, both the really early ones and the mid-game ones.
Yeah, hopefully that serves as a reminder for them at the start of Game 2 for what happened in Game number 1. Be wary of the smokes. Make sure you communicate who's missing from your lane on the map at what times and when they're even going to be feasible and capable of being able to pull out such plays. So Nico is going to help block back this mid lane a bit here for the Invoker. And, OD, I was curious if he was going to get the assistance of the Bane in the mid lane. It looks like not. Yol's actually stepping in on this Lina here. And we're going to have to see our classic 2v2 mid lane matchup now. So Nico, though, a lot of damage. This right click coming out. It's going to force him to start chewing through the early tango here. And it looks like they're going to do a ward here for the side of Fantastic Five, giving a little bit of the high ground vision here for BZZ.
Yeah, it's actually quite nice for it to be the Lina, because that means then the OD's Astral Harassment also serves to set up for the stun, so they get that much more harassment. That's why Saniko actually took so much damage, and it's pretty scary. I would say that Lina OD is significantly stronger than the Invoker Jakiro in the early levels.
We'll see how the dual lane ends up panning out. That leaves a lot of free attention, though, for this Slardar to kind of work with some last hits, get the CS game in, because they got to know art style is jungling here. So while Soniko's dancing around this mid lane, Dit Yara is obviously going to be in a solo lane matchup. So is that okay for him? Is it okay to kind of give the Slardar a lot? Is the Vengeful Spirit soul lane enough to kind of match up against the Slardar, or eventually the Slardar going to get some levels and she might have to be a bit nervous?
I mean, Venge can do okay. I don't think that Slardar is going to necessarily be able to kill her, but and she actually gets a nice stun there for harassment as the creep wave goes in. That's a good play by Dit Yara, but the concern is more that Slardar getting a good start might have a higher impact in this game than Venge having a good start, because we already see that Gyrocopter's doing well, OD's doing well, and if they just allow the Venge to do well, then that is that good lane start that we said Fantastic Five want to get.
Fight, mild fight over the top rune is going to be the new one, the Arcane rune picked up here for BZZ. He'll take it with himself back to mid lane after eating a bit of cold snap damage here. And a possible re-engagement as Yol looks to intercept LSA. Nice connection onto 2. Dragon Slave. There is a follow-up, but the damage not quite there yet. They are going to be able to snipe BZZ with some tornado damage. Turn back from Yol will force out a additional stun from Little Lena. And it'll be a salve. So a lot of beaten and bruised mid laners, but no one going to be dropped.
They're trying to get Ghost to get the top lane.
Yep, top lane. Akmo could be in trouble. He does go down to the Rocket Barrage, while bottom, they look for a setup on their own for Slardar. They're not going to get that one. Back at mid lane, Astral, but it's just going to be mild harassment still. So the only bloodshed at the top is they're going to be able to kind of knock out the Nyx Assassin here. So another solid grab for Fantastic Five.
And Chen is one hero that Artstyle occasionally plays, which doesn't result in him just having no farm at all. But I'm actually more interested in seeing his impact on the lanes, because so far he's just really been a farmer. He went for that 1 kill attempt on the slaughter, didn't actually manage to make the kill. And I definitely don't think that Chen's being picked as a greedy farmer here. He's meant to be putting pressure on the lanes.
You don't think maybe just they want to just bull rush for the mech and try to start just getting those early tier 1s down? I mean, he's visiting the lane pretty frequently, you know, giving me the idea he wants to do, as you said, typically kind of be bigger impact in the lanes and maybe find some possible pickoffs, but it looks like they're just going to inch in for some early tier 1s. Tier 1s plus some jungle farm might get him that early mech, I suppose, but I guess that's just kind of the yin and yang of Chens we see. It's either, you know, early harassment on the mid lanes and lanes at the start with the early creep, or farm and get the mech right away.
Yeah, it's just the way that the death ball strategy naturally works. You have to assemble, you have to like start building momentum early on in the game, and that's why I don't see it as Chen wants to farm. They're gonna get a tower here, so that's something. And actually, Lena might die too. Stepping a bit too close, that's a freebie given to Na'Vi.
Yeah. Just misjudged the placement there. It could happen also to BZZ in the mid lane. Oversteps forward. There's a cold snap. Nyx is here. It's a nice little sleep, but good D-sleep, and well, BZZ could be at the back end of this one. They get a nice tornado catch. He's forced to eat the fairy fire. Oh, barely kept alive from it alone. And so Nico could be the return. Gets off a beautiful dual breath, though. A turn back fire onto Bane. And they might get Yol. He gets the stun off. Right click. Oh, another fairy fire. But this time the right click will connect for Shadow. And quickly Na'Vi scrape together 2 kills and put themselves ahead 3-2.
Yeah, and this is the start Na'Vi need to have. Get a few kills, get the enemy towers early on. Don't let them get their key items, because if Fantastic Five are getting good timings on their key items and just suddenly start winning early fights, like they started doing in the mid game, it wasn't that early, but in the mid game last game. If they have that mid game again this game, I don't think Na'Vi are even in the game. I mean, part of Navi's plan is that the mid game's just going to be like assembling and pushing buildings.
Yeah.
But if they're not able to like get to that point somehow, the same way that Vega did them yesterday, they're in a lot of trouble. So, sure, well done Na'Vi. That's one round of aggression that succeeds, but I think we need to see another round of aggression coming out of them reasonably soon.
We'll see. Artstyle, in the meantime, Stetsov gets the Arcanes early on his Chen as he steps back in farm. But I agree with you. You're absolutely right. If we don't see Na'Vi continue to kind of put the pedal to the metal in the early and mid game and force Fearsome 5 to not easily get these kind of initiation tools, that could be a problem for them. Then Na'Vi could end up just kind of starving themselves out, missing their peaking window entirely. So we'll see. It looks like Artstyle's got an army built back up as he peeps out this bottom lane where they already got the tier 1. Hopes for this Slardar. But mid lane also, Yol out of position here. And that's a Tornado EMP that should connect. Ice Path will miss though. Yol's making it out, but he has to cross past the mighty Nyx Assassin here. Bane steps in, gets the sleep. Yol burning up though, and will go down to the last right click there of Lil Soniko. Meanwhile, it looks like they are going to be able to get the kill on Slardar in the bottom lane with those Chen creeps into Yara. No swap was necessary for this setup, but 2 kills now back for Na'Vi. You asked for them to kind of make some action happen, and it looks like they're doing it here. Push on bottom lane, plus a pick off elsewhere.
Yeah, and it's super important to actually do that, because having pushed the tier 1 at bot lane, the Jera can't really safely farm near his own tower. So to keep ganking into the lane and actually pushing the next tower is very important to them. Arzik is gonna rotate to the bot lane and try and get a sleep initiate off, but Navi's actually got a ward to show that, and I gotta say, Yol's made a few blunders in this game so far. He's 0 for 3 on the Lina, and I've seen him twice in a row now just wander into sort of unsafe territory, and Navi quite ready to kill him for it.
Call down commitment top lane. Sadoy looking for the grab on the Akmo here, and Ice Path is going to meet him from Soniko, and it looks like Sadoy will be dropped now. A killing spree for Soniko. Navi now Onich as they claim another life here, and suddenly we see Fearsome 5 dipping back into those smoke tactics again. They're heading out for Navi territory here, close but not far. You're right in front of them. They move in, amp damage. Can Arstyle save them with the Chen and the Mighty Creeps? They get the net off. The crush is there, but there's going to be the hand of God, and quickly Navi could turn the tide on this one. Look at that. Bane going to be put to sleep, and suddenly they have turned the tables, and it is going to be the retreat here of the Fantastic Five.
Yeah, so a failed smoke feels like already a distorted dynamic for this series, because that's the first out of both games that we've seen Fantastic Five go for smoke and not succeed. In fact, lose out one of their own heroes instead. Gyrocopter is getting a lot of farm. Hasn't actually left his lane yet once this game, and that's maybe the one thing going alright for Fantastic Five still in this game. That we got to see what the impact of this Gyrocopter is. When's going to be the first time that he joins the fray? Which fight does he come to, and does he win his team the fight with that first cooldown? Which also got nerfed actually in 6.86C, I think. I think level 1 cooldown does like 20 or something less damage.
Yeah, I think it was 220 first missile, and they changed it to 2. I believe that's what it is, but you're right.
Yeah.
And he has been more persistent hanging in lane, for other gyrocopters, very eager to kind of pull the trigger on using that call down. Sadoy has been a lot more patient with the start he's been kind of given here, and they might make a flank here for Nyx Assassin, who has the Vendetta. They know where the missile's going, but do they have the detection ready? They do. They have a sentry. They're going to plop it now, follow it up with the LSA, and that is going to lead to a nice pickoff here for Fantastic Five, who had already missed a couple of fights earlier. They needed this, but yeah, look, Na'Vi now smoked, sweeping into this top lane, and Fantastic Five might make a call for all hands on deck. BZZ has already showed up. Ditya trying to reach an Ice Path, not going to be connection. This is disaster possibly for Na'Vi as they walk right into a call down trouble. Ditya Ra going to be taken down immediately. Chen creeps the next sacrifice on this, and Slardar begins the hustle on forward. Artstyle might not be able to make it away from the crush. Creeps are going to be called in, but I don't think there's going to be enough help here from between those and Soniko. Gets him with the Ice Path. There's a nice tornado, but ultimately Chen will be taken down. They retreat back. These Chen creeps trying their best, but ultimately going to be kind of picked up here. Fantastic Five. They need a fight. They get it here now. Akmo back and toying with them. Gets a two-man stun, and that will be enough to force back the Dire front. So a good couple of momentum swings here for Fantastic Five. Would you put this game right back to a wash here, Scan, or do you think that Na'Vi are still in good position and they just kind of let this one slip away? Just a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, look, Na'Vi are still looking decent. The OD is certainly further behind where his farm rates from the previous game, but I would say Na'Vi's still a bit ahead, but if they were to lose another fight, they're very far behind, kind of thing. It's a weird dynamic, but it's because of the kind of draft that they have. Well, that's actually Aximo going for an attempt on BZZ, and I think maybe just with the tornado.
Yeah, they have enough to stop him. Cold Snap even, Tornado, and Soniko even getting in with that final stretch of the Ice Path. And they will secure a takedown to the mighty OD at this point, who seems to be kind of a repeat build-up. Saving out for the Midas early on, going straight for the greed here. Nice little throwback.
You see what Sadoy dominated a siege creep on his gyrocopter. There's like two opposing siege creeps attacking the tower together. Not often you get to see that.
Any extra siege damage, I guess, necessary to poke at this tier 2. It's forced out Soniko, and Sadoy will take his little siege creep back for the next push mission in the future, I suppose.
It looks so weird. It's like I don't even know what the right word is. I don't know, some kind of like trolley following him around, just like carrying his things for him or something.
Nice.
A wheelbarrow, that's what it looks like to me.
Yeah,
It's
the
a
remote
wheelbarrow.
butler here. But they could be walking into potential trouble. Exmo sweeping in Vendetta. Even has an arcane rune already popped for him. They're going to get the Tornado EMP, it looks like, but no, Bane gets the sleep off, but Cold Snap will be there, so will the stun. He goes down. Sadoy sidesteps the Ice Path, but he rendezvous with the rest of his squad, and they hustle back Na'Vi here. Shadow is going to be forced to run. Hand of God does come out, keeps him alive. Amp damage, sprint is going to be concluded, and I don't think they're going to be able to chase. Fantastic 5 almost get an opportunity to catch out Na'Vi, but don't quite have enough catch.
It's so important that Navi ran straight through the gyrocopter there. If they had ran into the rest of the Fantastic Five squad, they would have all died. Like, I think it's a pretty good kind of in the heat of the moment judgment to make, because usually you see a gyro running at you, the last thing you want to do is run towards the gyro. And Sadoy actually seemed to place his cooldown a bit as if they might run away. He wasn't really sure which direction they'd go. And if he had placed it more his direction, then I think he could have forced them into that, you know, tough decision of either run into my teammates or definitely tank the cooldown.
And on the response to that, Na'Vi were able to secure that tier 2 bottom in the fact that they're going to kind of take over the jungle a bit more here. They roam on through. Shadow, who is got this near second component of his Orchid here.
Radiant's top tower is under attack.
Him and Akmo are both going to pressure towards this mid lane. Orchid is going to be online soon for this Invoker. The point is that they are going to be able to kind of hustle their way, and quickly Fantastic 5 are not going to be comfortable kind of stepping out from the forefront. And this is Na'Vi where you have a big push strat and you're going against a lineup who goes like Midas OD. I do fear for him a bit because this is where Midas is going to be at its weakest, is right after you pick it up. And OD has no extra tool except for Midasing a Chen creep to stop this push right now. And this tier 2 is going to be an easy grab. What do Fantastic 5 have to do at this point? I don't think they have a lot to offer. The mighty push of Na'Vi is coming. Swap back insta death for Lina. This could be the beginning of a boulder rolling through town right now. Scant from Na'Vi land.
Yeah, and it's kind of sad that the Midas for OD is probably like the most. It's actually the most useful tool the OD has to stop the push. Midasing a creep. The next objective is probably Rush, and it's not just the OD that went Midas. The gyro went Helm of Dom, so it didn't look like Fantastic 5 wanted to, like, you know, distort their itemizing just to kind of panic and deal with Na'Vi straight away. The hope is that they manage to just weather the storm, and from there they'll be in a strong position and almost automatically take the lead in the game. But
oh boy,
they've not weathered the Roshan.
Well, Fantastic 5 try to smoke and hustle towards the Roche, but they're going to be a bit too late, and at the point it was either fight and go for it or quickly turn and try to make your way out. Lina, the sacrificial lamb, though, was the one caught. And now Na'Vi have a glorious army to push with. Great timing and an Aegis in their pocket to work with now. Oh, Fantastic
Lina
5.
and Ben are both level 5. They haven't ulted yet this game. They haven't gotten level 6 yet this game. It's like their impact has been pretty damn small, especially the Linas, but both of them just mostly feeding kills and unable to have that impact. I guess the flip side is that they could both get their level 6 soon. They're both extremely close. And that is two pretty big tools that haven't yet been explored in the game for Fantastic 5's fight.
And I don't think there's going to be much of an opportunity to get a lot out of it here. I mean, you're looking at now a Chen who has Hand of God and Greaves. So doesn't have to worry about conserving the mana to get that extra heal off at this point. So a Mighty Fiend's Grip coming out is not going to happen. Sadoy bottom lane. Ooh, lots of damage here. Coming from Soniko, gets him pretty damn low. We'll be able to make it out, but he is going to have to step away from the farming period here. But, I mean, with this kind of sustained power, I think even by the time they get these ultimates together or try to get some sort, you know, big high ground all or nothing, I think Na'Vi are just going to be able to shrug it off no problem. It looks like they could get a pick here. They drop a sentry, but at that moment, they actually get the stun off onto Actmo here. Can they burst him down before it comes? They can't. Now a tornado. Now a setup, and now the return comes out from Na'Vi, and Yol is just a man on the run. BZZ, the closest target. They catch him out with the Ice Path here. This could be a quick finish from Na'Vi, quicker than they even anticipated with this catch out. Stun lands on BZZ. There's our first Fiend's Grip of the game, but quickly canceled with an Ice Path. They are going to get the finish on the Shadow. Aegis will be expended, but BZZ will go down. 40 seconds for him. No buyback at all. Shadow, a lot of damage from Sudoi in this rocket barrage. They got the vision. He still walks through a sentry, but he is going to be able to make it away. Backhand side, though, Lena's going to be going down to Acmo, and the rest of Na'Vi, well, they're doing work. In the top lane, the tier 3 is going to be dropped. Rax is now exposed, and Fantastic Five are realizing that this base is going to be crumbling real fast right before them.
Yeah, they're just a bit too far behind. Lena's ulti, like, almost helped to kill Nyx, but it was just too late. It was maybe a few minutes earlier, it would have. The Fiend's grip, they do take down the Aegis, but, you know, it's too little too late. Look at Artstyle. Look at his net worth. He's the second richest player in the game. That's like, I mean, yes, he usually gets more when he plays Chen, but this is a player who almost every game is by, like, very far the poorest player in the game. And
we saw it last game.
I mean,
yeah,
exactly. We saw it last game. We saw all 3 games yesterday, and this is not like because he's Chen and he's been farming all game. He has been trying to be active. He's been trying to like put pressure, kill the towers, etc. And he's on top of the world right now.
And on the underside is unfortunately the Fantastic Five at this point. BZZ getting caught out and taken down. Still just kind of rendered at this awkward point where you want to be giving Gyro the forefront of most of the farm that's barely available out there, and you're stuck in this buddy system, you know, and you now have a Midas, and it's just like, I'll just take the little bits of Midas gold I can find, which you kind of want to save it for maybe a Chen creep here and there, and getting these secondary scraps, and even then it's hoping to build forward for probably something like defensive, like a BKB or something. And I just feel like the utility of this OD is just going to be a complete non-factor at this point. And
yeah, the OD pick is actually probably what told Artstyle this is the game to go for the death ball all in push.
Yeah,
because fine, if you insist on taking an early OD 2 games in a row, we're gonna actually punish you for it, and that's what they've been doing this game.
And for Na'Vi, it's just kind of steady as she goes here. For Nyx Assassin, he already has his Blink Dagger, so their initiation has already been represented here. And they can build new Ags and provide great low ground siege. I mean, you know, you're focused at someone kind of sieging like a Ditya Raw Vengeful Spirit, but you'll kind of overlook a backline burrow Nyx Assassin. Next thing you know, you're going to get caught out with a quick stun and set up for your ultimate demise. We'll have to see, though. Fantastic Five, though, they're never say die kind of a team, even after losing their top racks. They're going to go on an adventure here, and without a smoke,
if they lose this fight, it's game.
They are just going to try for the all-in flank play. I can appreciate this one. If it goes well, you might stay alive. If it doesn't, the game's over. And already a silence. Poor Slardard. He's dead. Okay, well, that might just do it there, Scant. Our Zeke is going to try to run. He'll sleep himself and hope to God when he wakes up the boogeyman won't be there, but they are. There's monsters all over the place. The game's over. Okay, well, they tried, but unfortunately they got spotted. They didn't have the smoke they were hoping for, and it's over. And we are now to a 1-1.
Invoker actually hits a 4-hero EMP tornado combo there, so it wasn't like Fantastic Five were hoping for like a perfect miraculous fight, and it was like the exact opposite of that, like just kind of emphasizing how far behind they were in the game. And this is just a stomp. It was, I mean, this was Na'Vi cheesed, and it was the way cheese